50 grand for it?
Yeah, one
In
time for
savings?
50 grand, it doesn't count. I'm not gay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another amazing episode of The Unusual Suspects. Dude, I've been wanting to do that every single episode. Something that has nothing to do with, like, I'm telling you.
I still don't know if we're joking.
Three fingers is fine. It's when you get to a fist, it's, hey, guys. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys are all doing fantastic. I don't even know where the hell that went. We have a great show for you guys today. Rob is in the house. Connor, Brandon, Viva. We have Brandon's hat backwards, guys, because the lighting. Brandon, show them the front so you can see how sick the front is. It's a VT hat, but then turn it around because we want people to see your face. Guys, this is one of those weeks where there's a lot freaking happening, a lot of freaking stories. I'm going to go through them real quick, and I want to jump right in because we have so much to talk about. Dave Portnoy and the situation with the anti-Semitic F the Jew sign at his bar in Philly. We're going to talk about that. Shiloh Hendricks, the white lady. Where is she from?
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Rochester, Minnesota.
Minnesota. She's she claimed her something was stolen from her from a 5-year-old black kid with autism.
Alleged 5-year-old kid.
Alleged
with
five, alleged
autism.
autistic.
Yeah, all allegedly, guys.
Alleged before every term. throughout the entire
yeah,
episode.
The
allegedly.
only thing that's not alleged is the word that she used when she called the kid. That's
Yeah,
the only
no,
thing.
she definitely used that word. Ashli Babbitt, the Jan 6 protester who was shot. I have an update about her. Alcatraz and the deportations. I want to get everybody's thoughts and views. We're going to do some polls as well. And then Joe Biden and his cognitive decline. Did they know? Did they not know? We all know that they all knew, and we all knew that they knew. So we know that they know. Right? Yeah. By the way, I'm having my own cognitive decline. I set my alarm.
That was so good, though. The way you did that was great. That's a T-shirt.
Rob, not planned, because my brain has been farting lately. Didn't set my alarm for the right time, did PM. And then today I drive all the way to work, and I go, Kelly, I showed up at the gate, no backpack. Even though I would have paid money, Rob, that it was back. I would have bet all my life. It's back there. I look in the back seat. It's not there. But my water bottle and a plastic bag is with me.
I've got a solution to your alarm problem. I'll give you my dog Pudge. 5 o'clock in the morning every morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
plus,
let me
keep
explain
her.
something to you. All dogs go to heaven. I'd set that appointment up really fast. I would make that. What? If they go to heaven, there's no hell for dogs. Kill them early. Anyway. So yeah, well, we all have that. And also, guys, so next, it's April, what dates? Armed Forces Day.
17th.
The 17th. All right, guys? So we have a collection for valuetainment on the website right now. Go to vtmerch.com. I'm pretty sure we're going to put a lower third. We'll put all the links in the description of this video. Guys, if you want to support the armed services, support your branch, we have Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force. It has a patch on the hat. You can rip it off. It's like a Velcro. It still says the future looks bright underneath it. And also, guys, I'm proud to finally announce Angry Patriot.
Oh, yeah.
Finally, Rob, has the Angry Patriot camo bucket hat. It says the future looks bright on the back. Guys, I was wearing this yesterday. I did a shoot. Bro, especially in the summer, blocking the sun. Look at it's blocking everything out, Rob. Rob, I got to get you one of these.
Get you the neck, too, because it's all
It
the
has
way
the
around.
neck on the back.
Oh.
Yep.
And also, guys, we have the Angry Patriot snapback. By the way, and I went with this camo because I love this. And did you guys know this? Do you know who designs these?
Who?
Blind people actually do the designing of the the
Oh,
military gives them
camo.
word, because guess what? Camo, it's just random. So
Yeah.
like, go for it. But guys, that's gonna be the link is gonna be in there as well. Angry Patriot, Armed Forces Day. Thank you for. I know it's not Veterans Day, but all the services, all the thing. By the way, Pete Hegseth. Did you hear Pete Hegseth yesterday? What he said?
Yeah.
No trans, no woke. We don't want none of that shit. We just want to kill people. And listen, say what you want. That's what the military is supposed to be about. So I appreciate you guys. Visit vtmerch.com. And yeah, you want one of these?
I want one of the bucket hats.
I know. I'm
It'd be
gonna
good
get
for-
you one.
it'd be good
I
for
want to watch
fishing.
the blind people in the factory making the hats. I'm sitting here going, that
Yeah.
must be very
Imagine
interesting.
this, man, they're working me to death. You're like, just hurry up and finish. Anyway, all right, guys. So, first story. And we have a Jewish guy in the house because I want to know your opinion.
Well, am I the only one who didn't know that Dave Portnoy was Jewish until yesterday?
I didn't know either.
Okay, because I
had
Googled
no
it.
idea.
How did you guys
knew.
not know? First of all, the name Portnoy is Jewish. Number
No,
one.
I didn't.
Portnoy's Jewish. Yeah, his
Wait,
father's Jewish.
what's the rule of thumb for Jewish last names? Because I thought it was like
Rule of thumb. I am
'cause, like,
offended,
Italian last
sir.
name-
I can't
Oh my-
believe you said rule of thumb because
Do you know the history to that term?
it was cool to hit women with a ruler as long as it was a stick.
See,
as long as it was smaller than your
It used
thumb.
to be
But-
Portnoy Steen until they arrived at Ellis Island.
Well,
and then had to
exactly, because like
shorten it.
Italians, it's always a vowel at the end of the name that means Italian. I thought it's like Steen and Gold are
I never.
obvious.
Well, there's those traditional European names, but just based on his accent, I thought that he was from like Boston.
He
like,
is from Boston.
No,
Yeah.
well, okay, let me rephrase. I knew that he was from Boston. I just pictured like Goodwill Hunting out of Boston,
Yeah.
Philly.
Wow.
But
Well-
not like Portnoy, as in
Yeah.
both of his
Oh, no,
parents
he's-
are.
ChatGPT says Dave Portnoy is not Jewish. There is a common misconception due to his last name and his cultural involvement in northeastern U.S.
he
media
said it.
circles, but he has publicly clarified that he is Italian American and not of Jewish descent.
Wait, can you Google? I want to Google. Bob, please look that up. Which that would be hilarious.
No,
if you-
my
No,
chat GPT
he
said,
is.
yes, Viva, he's Jewish, just like you, and don't forget it. I was like, well, that's a little personal.
But anyway,
This is why we don't outsource research to AI, because it's very frequently wrong.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
wrong. All right,
Grok once told me that a member of Canadian Parliament had 3 passports when they were actually referring to Mark Carney,
I
the new Prime
remember.
Minister.
I remember. So Barstool. So Dave Portnoy, he owns Barstool Sports. He was outraged after a group of young patrons displayed the anti-Semitic sign at his Philly bar, initially vowing severe retribution against those involved. He described the incident as part of a rising wave of anti-Semitism and explained that his first impulse was to ruin the lives of the offenders. I think we have a video of him when it first happened. Mind you, for you guys that don't know, he owns this bar in Philly. When it's your birthday, they give you these freaking. By the way, I hate this. I absolutely. The fact that people do it, I hate it. So the fact that this happened, it doesn't even freaking surprise me. So they give you a saying like "Happy Birthday, Rob," "Loved you" and whatever. They put "F the Jews" on this birthday thing, bottle service. So the people obviously spend hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars. The bar's owned by a Jewish guy, and that they all let them do this. And this is his response. Initially, he said he was about to have a heart attack.
All right, emergency press conference time. So I'm getting ready to go to the Met Gala. And all of a sudden, my phone, the last hour or two, my phone's fucking blowing up. Our bar in Philadelphia, Barstool Sampson Street, usually a great fucking bar. You know, bottle service, people buy drinks. You get a sign. There was a sign yesterday that said, "Fuck the Jews." I've been shaking. I've been so fucking mad for the last 2 hours. Like, I instantly got on. This is
Taylor
why the
Swift
emergency
shirt.
press conference was late, because I was so over the top. It's like, I'm going to fucking make it my life fucking mission to ruin these people. Like, I'm coming to your throat. I'm never ending. And I just sat, and for the last 2 hours, I have been on the trail. Trust me, I've been on the trail. You think I'm going to put up with this shit at my bar? So I've been hunting down waitresses, the table
Probably
who did
not
it,
the best way to
and
phrase it.
everything you can fucking name, because I want fucking consequences for fucking actions. So I'm not just sitting back like, oh, what are you gonna know? Trust me, I have been on it. I believe the 2 waitresses responsible for the table already fired. I talked to one of them, one of the dumbest fucking humans I've ever talked to in my life. She's at a fucking dance recital. She's like, can I call you back in 20? No fucking honey, you fucking can't. This is your one chance to talk to me. Idiot, total idiot.
All right, okay,
this
we
girl.
get-
Is he
talked
wearing
to-
the
we just-
Taylor Swift shirt ironically, or
No, he just, he
No,
probably.
he loves Taylor Swift. So I followed Barstool for a long time. And do you know how they shot to notoriety, how they became famous?
a few different things.
Well, the number one thing was when Dave Portnoy posted a photo of Tom Brady's, I believe, 2-year-old son naked on his website.
yep.
We're talking 2006, 7, or 8. is when
Howitzer Gate.
What's that?
Howitzer Gate is what it was called.
It's called, what is it?
Howitzer Gate, because he said the kid had a howitzer.
What does that mean?
he commented
Like a-
on the size of the kid's penis?
Yes.
Shut.
Yes.
I'm sorry, my eyes are twitching. Dave Portnoy did that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was how
You know,
Barstool. That's how I became aware of Barstool, and I followed them for a long time. He has been a Taylor Swift fan. I believe he went to like a concert 2 or 3 years ago and became a Swiftie. And he's been very vocal about his love for Taylor Swift, which I actually admire, because there are some songs of Taylor Swift's that are enjoyable.
Oh,
I won't go to a concert. I'm not going to buy a shirt. But there have been times where I've caught her singing a song. I'm like, man, I really like that song. Who is that? And somebody goes, Taylor Swift. I'm like, I don't like her, but I love that song. Yeah. So he's been a Swiftie for a long time.
And just to clarify, also, I like the music, but I would never wear a Taylor Swift shirt. I did when I used to do the races in a suit, the obstacle course races. I did one to shake it off, and I would lip sync
But-
while I did it. It was
By
fun.
the way, I would wear it to make fun. Like I like wearing shirts where people are like, oh, he's wearing a whatever shirt. But anyway, this is a tweet from him about the situation. He goes, I'm all over this. Mike Wade wasn't there. Mo Khan most certainly was. The 2 bottle service girls who did already have been fired. I talked to Wade. He was crying. I have Mo Khan's cell and talked to his buddy who did it. I gave them 1 hour to make it right, whether it be
Anti-Semitism classes, so re-education.
Yeah, and
This
if
is
it's
the bad-
not,
this
it's
is the
not
bad
the snuff,
response as far
I'll
as
put
I'm
it all
concerned,
in lights. And apparently he's telling these people, give you a trip to.
We have that video as well.
Sending them to Auschwitz is what he said verbatim.
The outrage in that video. Okay, it makes sense. He's Jewish. He's mad that people held up a sign that said something
Good.
offensive against his people. Great, whatever. That's your prerogative. But for him to stand there and I'm gonna ruin their lives.
Yeah.
I'm giving them 1 hour to respond before I blow them up. I'm all over this. He tracked down phone numbers. He's calling people's friends. That was. You don't think that's a little bit over the top?
Yeah,
Not at all. I actually think it's not enough. The kid that did this is 21 years old. He's an adult. These are kids that are able to sign a contract with the government to get a student loan that they're going to have to pay off for the next 20 to 30 years of their lives. So these kids are fully functioning adults. He's going to Temple. That's not an easy school to get into.
No.
This is not some dummy. When you put something like that up on a sign, you may have the freedom of speech to say it, but you are not absolved of the freedom of consequence. So the kid getting suspended from his school, the kid losing his internship, hell yeah. Absolutely. If I went into his bar, regardless if it said fuck the Jews or fuck the blacks or fuck the Hispanics, there's going to be consequences to that.
Yeah.
And absolutely, if that's my bar, because guess what? It's not Mo Khan that was getting tagged at first. It was Barstool Sports. Barstool Sports is anti-Semitic. Dave Portnoy, who is Jewish, apparently Grok says he is, also anti-Semitic. So when you have these people going out and saying these horrifically vicious things, yeah, be prepared that there's going to be consequences. And when the reputation of your bar and your business are on the line and it looks like you're allowing anti-Semitism, that has consequences for the establishment. So if that's my bar, hell yeah, I'm going through every avenue I can to identify those kids, embarrass the shit out of them, show the world what awful human beings these kids are, and calling out their parents. The number one conversation I had with my kid about this on Sunday when I started seeing this going was, this is why you think before you do. Because there are consequences for every action. So whether it's fuck the Jews, fuck the blacks, fuck the Hispanics, fuck the Arabs, whatever it may be, there's going to be consequences when you make a statement like that.
But here's my question though. So what? And I want the chat to know. I'm asking the chat. What do you guys think the punishment should be? Jail, fines, firing, in one line. Education, both. Or neither. Free speech should be protected. And here's my thing, Rob. I agree. But is it, mind you, we don't know all the actual details of who said yes. And first and foremost, everybody at your staff, your bar, the people that you hired, are cool to the management, because this doesn't go, you don't just make a decision as a waitress. This is, from the top down, was cool with that. So they're cool with saying, fuck the Jews in a Jewish-owned bar, number one. Number two, is the punishment, yes, it was very, very stupid, but is it worth destroying a 21-year-old kid's life?
Yes, because he's not a kid. Well, I don't believe we can continue to, when we refer to these people as children, they're not children. A 21-year-old person can drive a car, can drink alcohol, can serve in the military, can sign up for student loans. So at what point do we go, well, it's an innocent kid? Look, if that was a 12-year-old that did that,
yeah, of course,
I'd have more leeway and go, all right, he's 12, he's stupid, he doesn't understand the consequences of his actions. That same logic does not apply to a 21-year-old man.
So 21, mind you, I did a lot of crazy shit when I was 21 that I would never do now as an adult, a real adult. And you're right, Rob, he just turned 21. So what I'm asking is, destroying his life, meaning he's never going to get a job again. His life is literally going to be ruined forever because his dumb ass put a sign in a bar that said, fuck the Jews, because in his mind, Israel, because this is where it goes all back to, Israel is ruining the world and ruining the country. That's what I'm asking. I'm saying, ruining his life forever. He's on, but they didn't kick him out. He's on his
They suspended him, but they'll probably revoke his
That's basically what I'm asking you guys is, for the rest of his life, He's destroyed because he made a stupid decision. You're 100% right. As an adult, but an immature 21-year-old adult.
Now, I happen to have, as I was driving here, listened to other appearances that he did, and his big problem now is the mistake and an apology would have been one thing. I don't think you destroy someone's life for something. Look, people think like real life is like Twitter, so you can say something edgy and say, oh, it's just a joke, bro, don't take it too seriously, and that's probably how they meant it. Well, they're not destroying his life for having said F the Jews is going to teach him a lesson that what he said was wrong and that, you know, the Jews as a people are not vengeful or you don't get canceled for saying stupid things. It might teach him the wrong lesson in terms of trying to make him realize the error in his ways. The only problem is I've seen some of the interviews he's done since he put up that apology makes things exponentially worse. He went on with Stu Peters and made things exponentially worse in terms of now saying, poor me, I went out and said, fuck the Jews, and now I'm getting in trouble, and it's the Jews' fault that I'm getting... Like, this is what happens. People say, like, oh, you go online and you say, fuck the Jews, and then you get canceled, you get your bank account shut down. It's because the Jews are in control. No, it's because you're acting like an asshole in general. And you can fill in the fuck the Jews for whomever, you'd probably have the same consequences. Unless it's, you know, you say something racist and then you raise $600,000 and maybe he's empowered by that.
But that brings up an interesting point, though, because I don't know if you get the same reaction if you go, like, race by race or group by group. And I don't know the answer to this question or not, but, like, is this going to make the problem worse or less bad? Like, this type of reaction, is it going to make more people do things like this or less people do things like this? Because it's almost like some people, like, just exist purely to get a reaction out of people. Some people like that. And, you know, I think, like, the degree to which he reacted, it's going to cause some people out there to try to provoke people like this when they see this, like, this powerful of a reaction. Because you got people like Nick Fuentes out there who, like, monetize hatred and stuff. So, I don't know.
Well, that's he'll find his niche to compensate for whatever loss he's going to experience. Some might say that Portnoy is going a little bit too hard, and methinks he does. You know, he has to protest to show what a virtuous person he is, which might correlate to what a virtuous person he's not. I don't know. Getting fired, it's you know, without a question. The waitresses get fired. How blasty you have to put that on that you fire them. Fire them. He's going to suffer the consequences with his school, not because of what Portnoy's doing, because he put it up on his. From what I understood, he uploaded it to his Instagram page. He made it public. So you don't need Portnoy to go full hog for this kid to suffer the consequences, which are foreseeable. His life won't be ruined, nor should it, but you will not teach him any lessons by looking to destroy him for the rest of his life.
But the other part of the problem is how Portnoy used his platform to then try to take a position like he's an authority on this. He's saying, what should their punishment be? Like, okay, I get they did it in your bar and you can fire your employees. That's your prerogative. I think that was probably the smart thing to do. The people who don't work for you, what authority does Dave Portnoy have to punish them? Now he's talking about, oh yeah, I'm gonna send them to Auschwitz to go
You
to
might want
take
to play
a tour.
that clip so people don't think you're actually saying something bad.
Yes. Let's play this clip and then I'll finish my statement. He's not actually trying to send them to Auschwitz.
I don't know. But
punishment.
it sounded like he was making a double entendre, half funny joke that might not be funny.
Well, let's play that. And Connor, I understand what you're saying right before we play this. But what Mo Khan is saying is that Dave Portnoy said, you know, he basically won't put his name out there and stuff like that if he goes through this and goes through all this process. But then he went ahead and blasted him out there with all these fucking people. So he's like, well, he lied to me. That's what he's saying. That's the interview that I just saw. But yeah, play this clip about
sending them to the A word.
All right, real quick update on the Fuck the Jews sign that was at my bar in Philadelphia yesterday. 2 hours ago, he literally could have cooked an egg on my head. That's how much steam and heat I had come out of my ears. And the more I thought about it, it's like these are young fucking morons who did this. They're drunk. It's like, do you really want to ruin somebody's life? And let me be honest. I don't know what's going on in the world. I do, the Middle East, obviously. But I've been doing Barstool for 20 years. I've had more hate, more anti-Semitism in the last year and a half than I've ever had doing it. And whether people, it's like Kanye, the UFC guy, it's like mainstream lunatics. And I'm not talking about politics or what's going on in the Middle East, just hating groups of people. You hate my parents, you hate my grandparents, shit like that. It's crazy. So, yeah, my initial reaction was like, I'm going to fucking burn these people to the ground, their families, everything. And it's like, you know what? Maybe that's not the best course of action. Maybe I can use this as a teaching moment. And like, before people just are like, fuck the Jews or any group and the hate, let's try to like turn a hideous incident into maybe a learning experience, as cliche and very unlike me. But I talked to both the culprits who I know are super involved in it, talked to the families. I'm sending these kids to Auschwitz. They've agreed to go. That's, of course, the Holocaust concentration camps. Been in touch with the Crafts, who run the anti-hate group. We're going to send these kids to Auschwitz, and they're going to do a
But the way he says it, almost,
tour
it's like
of the
he
concentration
intends to do
camps
Blanton.
in Germany, and hopefully learn something, and maybe like their lives aren't ruined, and they think twice, and more importantly, other people see.
All right,
it's
that's
not
enough.
like words
And I
you're
want you to
throwing
go,
around.
Connor, in all honesty, if you hate Jews, okay, and you're this person, and this guy pays for you to fly to Auschwitz, is that going to change your attitude one iota? Absolutely not.
Probably not.
They're not
Like,
going to change.
and-
Rob.
and this is what I mean
don't
about
think-
his
I don't think
authority.
Mo Khan is going to be like, you know what? Yeah.
Is
No, it's going to
this-
make him angrier because a Jewish guy is making him go there.
This is what I mean about him taking this authority position as though he has some kind of invested power to punish these people who have nothing to do with him other than they went to his bar. It's like, well, I didn't like what you guys said, so now you're going to go on this field trip, and then you're going to write an essay about how you've reflected on what you did wrong, and then if I'm convinced that you're actually sorry, maybe
no.
I won't ruin your life.
That's not.
If you hate Jews that much, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that's acceptable at all. That's completely inappropriate behavior for people to do in public, and it's their own fault for posting it after they made this terrible decision.
in public.
No,
I'm
okay.
joking, Connor.
Or don't post these things.
No, but
This is why kids are idiots for posting this stuff. But it's like, how does it help then to have a super wealthy, super influential guy? Like, I'm going to mandate you go on this field trip to make you think about your behavior. You're going to go through the thing that will make you think the things I want you to think. And then once I see you're sorry, maybe I won't ruin your life. That's not going to change anybody's mind.
You're going to get Mo Khan arguing with the people at Auschwitz, running the calculations as what you hear on the internet. Well, you know, it's technically impossible for you to have cremated that many people over that many years. I mean, first of all, it's true also. It's not because they don't know that there was a genocide. The issue is that they take issue with the fact that the Jews have been successful, and put that in quotes, in getting recognition for their genocide, while the Armenian genocide is not even yet recognized by certain countries. While, you know, the Rwandan genocide is almost written off as like activities of an undeveloped world, where, like, you know, the whole thing they always say about the Holocaust is it happened in Germany, and that was the most civilized country on earth. And so that's what makes it particularly shocking, as though human nature is not human nature across the globe.
But let me ask you, be honest, Viva. When did this, because when do you guys think this hardcore anti-Jewish movement started?
October 7th.
October 7th made, and the months following, made people go, oh my God, Israel, it's the response of Israel to Palestine. Let's just say what it is, because nobody was walking around saying F the Jews, doing signs like anti-Semitism was nowhere near where it was. And the problem with people like this is, your ignorant ass, instead of saying F the Jews and do a blanket statement over all people, it's like Rob said, F the blacks, F the Spanish, F the Latinos. He should have said.
Well, hold on. Just before you say, like Rob said, F all of these ethnic groups.
I mean,
I was trying to prove
It
a
was over
point.
coffee, too. It's like, fucking fuck
no,
all of
what
them.
I'm saying is that sign, if you're going to be pointing it and go to the point, should have said, I don't like what Israel is doing in Gaza. That's what you should say.
Slightly more nuanced than you get on a bottle service sign.
He could have said, fuck Israel. Like, I mean, that's what he could have said.
F Bibi Netanyahu. F Israel.
Their
That's what you say.
Their strategy is like all wrong though. Like I think they're like the people who are like most harshly against this are the ones who are creating it. Because like the harder you try to suppress people from saying something, like if you even broach the topic of saying like, oh, I don't like the way that like Israel or Jewish people are doing this, it's like shut up, anti-Semite. So I think like that almost is adding fuel to the fire. And since there's so much of that, that's like what's like caused an increase in this stuff.
Then going on that point, and then there's a bill. There's a bill. Right, can we go to that one, Connor?
Yeah,
guys, because there's
that's the
and
next
this is what's freaking crazy on
next page.
Next page. Next slide.
HR 867, the
Yes.
Can we go to the next slide?
Which is a
yeah, thank you. So on Sunday I heard about this. Charlie Kirk and a bunch of people were posting it, and then apparently it just disappeared. They just canceled it. So this is a House bill that wanted to criminalize participation in anti-Israel boycotts. Going off to your point, it was pulled from a scheduled vote after significant backlash from conservative lawmakers and activists who argued it violates America's First Amendment right. It's called HR 867, which basically was going to make it illegal and with fines up to $1 million. Can you go to the next slide? and show them this
And
one.
also, just to clarify something,
that's what was floating around.
To clarify something, the response to this was, well, it's only an HR resolution to amend an existing law. The law already exists, so what are you guys complaining about? For those who've been paying attention, the law exists as of 2018. It amended a 1979 law. And the law of 2018 sought to prevent individuals within the United States from actively participating in they want to include independent governmental organizations, but to participate in organized boycotts of countries friendly to the United States, such as Israel. So it's true, the law has existed since 2018. It was a dumb law in 2018, and the fact they want to enhance the penalties makes it even dumber and exacerbates any underlying...
Which other U.S. allies are ever being boycotted by anybody?
Well, some people might want to boycott Canada now. I mean, would that apply to anybody who wants to participate in an internationally organized boycott of Canada?
I will not buy Canadian whiskey. Well, I guess I'm going to jail for 20 years and paying $1 million fine. According to this.
Yeah, what are you gonna say?
Well,
Rob?
because I'm reading the actual resolution, and nowhere in there does it say Israel or Jews. It does say country which is friendly to the United States, and that is not itself the object of a U.S. boycott.
Yeah, because you could boycott Russia now, because that would be one that there's a sanction involved.
When they're saying friends of the United States, who's our allies?
Also, the bill was introduced by the resolution was introduced by Representative Mike Lawler, who explicitly said it was for Israel.
There's no denying it.
If you look at his open secrets page, you can see how many thousands of dollars he received from AIPAC in his last
There's
campaign.
no denying it was in response to what they call the not IBS.
Irritable syndrome?
BDS, boycott, divest, sanction Israel. It was in response to that, and people should be somewhat offended that there would be a law that says that you can't boycott or participate in a boycott. I mean, I made the joke that what's next in telling you what you can't boycott is telling you what you have to buy and what countries you have to support. But the whole issue with Portnoy's over-the-top reaction, it's a sign that said, fuck the Jews. Yes, it makes your establishment look bad. You come out, you fire them, you say there have been sanctions, and you move on because it's a freaking sign that said, fuck the Jews. Yeah. And you were not 5-year-old children that this is going to cause us to be shaking. And I say that it doesn't even matter that I happen to be Jewish. I say that it could be anybody. Those are words. The argument that leads to real-life actions, I'm not convinced that someone saying something stupid on the internet leads to someone actively participating in that in real life, whereas they wouldn't have otherwise done it in any event.
It wasn't a call to action. It didn't say kill the Jews.
It could have been in the imperative tense of go out and have sex with a Jew.
No one would complain about that.
Or listen, you know how easily that sign could have been fixed if they just put with there. Fuck with the Jews. Like, it'd have been easy.
I thought it said frisk the Jews at first. That's
well, listen, from the top, the bar, the management, you deal with that. I don't know. Having them go there to me isn't going to do nothing. These are in regard to the bill. These are posts from Charlie Kirk, Thomas Massey, Anna Paulina Luna, who's one of my favorites. She's so beautiful.
She's gonna be on the podcast soon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Guess who's gonna try to be on that? And then what else do we have, Kel?
Well, they apparently pulled it. It was scheduled for a vote. I don't remember if it was Monday or yesterday, but they pulled it, and it's.
Did you guys see that before we move on to the Shiloh Hendricks story? Did you guys see that? The guy actually put the. Can we go back to the video of Mo Khan real quick?
Yeah, my bad.
Because you should hear this guy's defense. All of a sudden, he went from I didn't do this to now I'm a victim because Dave Portnoy put me on blast because of what I've said, and now I've suffered all of these punishments. You should feel bad for me. Then he started a Give, Send, Go or a GoFundMe or somebody did in his name, and it's generated like $25,000 already. But here's the clip. Just listen. In my opinion, this guy's a piece of shit if he was behind the sign. But take a listen to how he is now the victim of his own actions.
Go ahead.
I was in an establishment in Philadelphia where an incident occurred, and Dave Portnoy sensationalized it to his 9.2 million followers on Instagram and X, essentially turning it into a global news story. Although I had nothing to do with the sign coming out, nor do I know who did it, I know that the sign was provocative because it reminded people a lot of the unjust things that Israel is doing around the world, thus leading me to report on it. Dave Portnoy and his friends can choose to be triggered over the sentiments of that sign and even kick me out of the establishment forever. However, they have no right to destroy my life over free speech and ultimately something that was an edgy joke.
Stop it right there. Stop it right there. So earlier he said that he had nothing to do with the sign. He didn't know who was behind it. But now he claims that it was an edgy joke. So which is it? Were you behind the sign or were you not? Because now within a minute, You're issuing
Not
a
even.
contradictory statement about your participation
He
in the sign.
uploaded it to his Instagram page. The
No, but now he swears he was only covering it as a citizen journalist. So if you look
I'm
at...
going to do that. I'm going to go to a strip club, and I'm going to film, and then I'm going to tell my wife, I'm there as a citizen journalist.
Yeah, if you
and
look at that
cannot
guy...
impede on me.
Like, you can tell where that guy's from. Mo Khan. Sounds like the name of a deep south white supremacist if I've ever heard one, right? No, this is definitely someone who has a reason to dislike Israel and Jewish people that has nothing to do with him being some sort of white supremacist right-winger.
No, but he says, like, what's offensive about it is that it reminds the world of the unjust things that Israel, unjust is what he meant, of what Israel's doing. It's like, all right, does he have a sign that says, fuck the Chinese, like, or fuck CCP? No, because when you direct your ideological prejudice against the only one country where you decide to object, even if you assume that what they're doing is morally objectionable, and I think some can agree that there's some element of it that is morally objectionable, but war is hell. You don't pick on China. You don't pick on Libya. You don't pick on any other country. You go to Israel, and you. By the way, you do it not in the wake of Israel's response to October 7th. They were saying, F the Jews, and they were protesting Israel before it even retaliated for the October 7 terrorist attacks, which goes to show you that it wasn't predicated on Israel's response. It was an underlying sentiment that's always there. It resurfaces every 10 to 20 years, and we are now going through Intifada 3, which I lived through the first two in 2001 and the mid 90s. But no, it's ideologically driven objection. He doesn't care about any other injustice in the world. This is the one now he wants to make an edgy joke about.
All right, well, great story, guys. All right, moving on. Shiloh Hendricks. I don't know who's been paying attention to this story, but where is she? Okay, so she's a Rochester, Minnesota woman. She hurled a racial slur at a 5-year-old black child in a viral
alleged 5-year-old, alleged autistic
all
child.
alleged. She has raised, they've raised $600,000 and counting on Give, Send, Go. I know that's one of your favorite places. No, not, what's the other one?
Go F Me is the other one. We don't even mention that name.
A fundraiser titled Help Me Protect My Family, claiming, I'm asking you for help to assist protecting my family. I fear we must relocate. She alleged a man with a history of law enforcement recorded her causing great turmoil as my social security number has been leaked. My address, my phone number has been given out freely, prompting threats and harassment.
It's the facts. Are you guys all familiar with the facts?
Yes.
The guy who recorded it, his name is a complicated Sherbeke, first name Omar, last name.
Somali immigrant
who was facing charges of basically sexual abuse of a 16-year-old, non-consensual. The charges were dropped in the interests of justice by the state of Minnesota. He and another person, I think also Somali, were involved in this. The woman fled a foster home and they allegedly sexually assaulted her. Charges dropped in the interests of justice. That's the guy recording it.
Yeah,
oh, so he's
and that's verified by AB6 News. They wrote an article April 18th of 2023. I believe, Connor, you included this.
Yes, we have that a few slides
So,
over.
the guy recording is allegedly a
Somali pedophile has his phone out recording near a playground and happens to catch a woman calling what he claims is a 5-year-old autistic boy, but actually looks more like a 12-year-old, probably non-autistic kid. The N-word.
By the way, and I love that you guys did your like, I had no idea about that. And here's another thing. Besides him being allegedly a whatever psycho, whatever pedophile, notice how the recording starts right when this moment happens. So there's no context of what's happening before. I don't know any of the ages of. I mean, she obviously has her child in there, and she starts claiming some stuff. I want to warn. Well, we're gonna have this.
Now, I believe when the audience hears this, the N-word will be censored.
Okay.
We are hearing the uncensored version,
Okay,
and you will know from the number of beeps that Shiloh Hendricks really went for it in this.
Okay,
one.
let's. And this is her claiming that something was stolen from her child. Go ahead.
You call him a child?
The fuck you talking
Did you
about?
call the child the nigga word?
Maybe he's saying
It is my own business. You call him a nigga?
She says it.
Okay, why don't you have the balls to say it right now again?
Have the balls.
Okay. All right, that's what you say.
You don't go digging through people's shit, you dumb fuck.
Nobody
You put the volume
digging
up.
through
We can't
shit.
hear it.
A little fucking kid just did, you dumbass.
That little kid, you call him a nigga?
Yeah.
The little child?
What if he acts like one, he's gonna...
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff. for
So,
fucking-
so that gives you the right to call the child, 5-year-old, the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know, that's a hate
That's what he's
speech.
gonna act.
And you can be recorded for that.
I don't give a shit.
Huh.
Fuck off.
Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you.
But so that was a kid up there, the 5-year-old allegedly.
The issue is, like, I've been taking flack for this because on the one hand, I'm still very suspicious about how this occurred in the first place. If you're a woman who harbors racist sentiment and you're approached by a middle-aged Sudanese man in a park who's egging you on to say the N-word, the videos that I've seen about what happens to the person after they say the N-word are sufficient to, not cause you to say it to a stranger who's accosting you with a video camera in a park trying to get you to say the N-word. And the fact that I'm skeptical of a lot of things on this. And then to immediately go to give, send, go, and raise, it was initially set at 100,000. It got there quickly, up to $250,000. Got there, up to $500,000. Now it's up to $1 million.
Now, when those things work, the people themselves that are running the campaigns don't actually increase the threshold, right?
They do.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
I thought it was automatic. Once you meet the goal, give, send,
no.
go, then...
They tell you to do it as like the best practices because if you reach your goal, then people stop donating.
Yeah.
So I'm skeptical of how she would, if she's a racist and harbors these sentiments and prejudgments about blacks in general, she's going to say the N-word to a guy, a 35-year-old Somalian guy who's recording her in the park. Okay, assume that she actually is legit and said it. Then the issue is, some people are saying the kid's not 5 years old. I'm like, okay, if the guy said to her, you say it to a 5-year-old kid and her answer is that's not a kid, that's a 12 or 13-year-old, one would assume that that's what her response would be, not, I'll do it if the kid's acting like what I think, warrants the use of the word. Other people were floating the idea that the Somalian guy was using this kid to rummage through people's purses, to steal money, and then if you get mad at the kid, you say it's just a kid.
Wow,
Which happens all the time, by the way.
Because the question is, why is that guy there? Does he have a kid? Why is he in the park in the first place?
Apparently, according to some reports, he brings his own kids to that park, and they know the other kid, so that's why he jumped in. But nobody really is aware of the connection right now.
So
nobody can verify who the kid is, where the kid's parents were, or what happened. So everything we know about, the alleged 5-year-old, alleged autistic, comes from that guy in that video.
Okay, so I mean, dude,
and her not even remotely denying that she thought it was a kid.
That is
a
crazy. I mean, besides her being what she is, that is a crazy, crazy idea to literally bring child 1 or 2, to go steal stuff from other people, and the moment they say something, you go, "Hey, is it because they're black?" And then you push them and say, "Go ahead."
That
I
happens
dare you to say it.
constantly.
Wow.
I can't tell you how many videos videos you see of, like, in the store, family going around, and all the stolen merchandise is under the 3-year-old in the stroller, so that when somebody stops them, it's like, "Oh, you harassing the black kid?" No. It's because they're sitting on a ton of stuff you stole.
That's not fair. Black people aren't the only people that do that.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I know
the ploy is to use a kid to do the theft, and then when they
I've seen gypsies do that in LA. I've seen gypsies do it. They're not black. They're pieces of shit.
What I got into the most trouble for, do you all remember the Johnny Bobbitt, Caitlin McClure, and Mark D'Amico Go F Me scandal? The homeless person who gave the woman his last $20, and then they raised $500,000.
Yeah.
And then it turns out they were all in cahoots together, and they only got found out when they weren't paying the homeless guy. What did they say they were paying?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So I half seriously, but I'm like, okay, what if this is all just a big cahoots? Because the guy who uploaded the video to the internet has his run-ins with the law. People are like, well, he's not going to upload the videos to the internet. I was like, this would be one great scheme. They raised $600,000, and we'll find out later on it was either a setup, a prank, a social experiment, or they were in on this from the beginning.
Let's discuss the run-ins with law enforcement for a quick second. I want to read you what this news site, ABC6 News, says about the guy who filmed that video. According to court documents, a 16-year-old girl fled her foster home in Farmington, Minnesota, and told law enforcement she was sexually assaulted by multiple men in the Rochester area. According to court records, the teen told law enforcement that one of the suspects, not the guy that's in this video, but possibly his accomplice, Mohammed Omar, picked her up at a Rochester Quick Trip and offered her a place to stay at his trailer, then propositioned and raped her after the teenager told him that she would not have sex with him. According to court documents, the teen said she also met Shamarke Omar, the guy that did film this video, at the trailer later, and that Omar sexually assaulted her twice. The teen said that she was kept in a trailer for under 24 hours with no food, and the men took her shoes to prevent her from running. Wow. So when we say that this guy had run-ins with law enforcement, it's not like he got pulled over because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
Yeah.
This guy allegedly kept a 16-year-old as a victim inside of a trailer for 24 hours, viciously and horrifically raped her, and then took her shoes so she couldn't escape.
Charges were dismissed in the interests of justice.
What is that? What does the interest of justice even mean? Mind you, this is Minnesota. Is this Tim Walz's Minnesota?
Yeah, this is
Tampon Tim's place. place.
This is Minnesota, where they have this gigantic population of Somali immigrants.
Of course.
Which, people from Somalia, one of the most dysfunctional countries on the planet, keep managing to ship people all the way to the United States, and they end up in Minnesota.
Is this where Ilhan Omar's place?
That's what I'm just
is this the place that has over the 20 terror watch list people with ties to ISIS? But that bitch tries to say that white men are the biggest threat to this fucking country.
This is why I'm suspicious of any woman alone in a park who's going to drop a hard R N-word on a guy who's accosting her with a camera.
Could I ask you a question? Rob, what if they're all in on it?
No, but
what if he went to her and said, listen, I have an idea. I'm not going to rape you or keep you hostage, because that's allegedly what I do. Why don't we just set this whole thing up? Bro, that would be a brilliant...
That's a lot more...
My intuition tells me these are all actors.
They might be...
That's a lot more high order
how easy it is to
thinking.
play us, though. You know, like the guy got off easy on a crime, so the same thing happened with that piece of shit guy who was talking about the Carmelo Anthony thing. Like, he beat the shit out of a 2-year-old, headbutted his girlfriend, and then barely gets any crime for that, or penalties for that. Then he starts this weird nonprofit that gets money from the Tide Foundation, that gets money from Open Society, and then now he's just randomly representing Carmelo Anthony's family. So
that's so weird. But
the retort to it not being possibly staged is that they would have had no idea of knowing that they would have raised that much money.
What if NGOs give them the money, though?
Well, first of all, a lot of those donations, I spoke with Jacob Wells about the anonymous donations. They're anonymous to the public, but not to the platform. So, Jacob Wells, I had him on my channel on Sunday night, and he explained the donations, 85% from America, so you could tell that it's not coming directly from foreign countries. The option to tip the platform is commensurate with other campaigns, because my question was, if this is sort of like an NGO funded, they're not going to tip Give, Send, Go for the optional sort of support. There was another element to this also, but there was allegedly fake photo of Shiloh kissing a black man that she allegedly posted on Facebook from 2011, and people were saying, oh, now the right that donated to her is going to be pissed off. And my theory was like, if that's a legit photo, it might only explain why she might be comfortable using the N-word. Like, okay, I feel part of the culture, so I could use the N-word.
She got the card.
But it's the issue is only did she become the face of MAGA like many propagandists on the left, I would say, are trying to claim? Like, look, this reveals the underlying racism of MAGA, that people are now supporting this woman to the tune of $600,000 for having dropped the N-word.
She's not the face of MAGA. She's the face of...
She could be the face of the CIA, because they're more racist than MAGA.
That's one possibility, and I fully agree that there's the chance exists that a bunch of big money NGOs and people who are trying to just stir up division are donating to this and to the Carmelo Anthony Give, Send, Go to just create problems. Ian Carroll threw that out the other day, where he's like, everyone's so busy fighting, you're not looking at the bankers. And when Ian Carroll says bankers, what he means is Jews. So the international cabal of Jewry
means bankers. They just happen to be statistically overrepresented by.
So one possibility is that the global cabal of Jewry is causing all these racial. The other possibility is that this is legitimate racial division that has existed in the country for decades.
Not organically, though.
Oh no, I wouldn't.
Go back and look at things like the results of the OJ trial. There were people who were being interviewed where that was like the big racial inflection point, viewed as retribution for the Rodney King beating, where people were saying, I don't care if OJ did it, I'm glad he got off because at least he only killed white people.
Yeah, that's to do with the way it's being covered, though.
Yeah, that's the coverage, but this is a sentiment that exists. So even if there's people who are pouring money into it to try to stoke this division, they have a huge army of people on both sides who are more than happy to go along with it.
Which that's one, or it could just be an alleged pedophile took out his phone and got a racist white bitch. I mean, it could be. Oh wait, and again, we're not gonna know any of the answers. This is Jacob Wells you interviewed from Give, Send, Go, because guys, and I want to know, just before I read this, should people be allowed to fundraise like the Carmelo Anthony situation, where people are saying it was, to help him, and no, they're renting multi-million-dollar houses and buying cars and shit. Should people be allowed to fundraise like this? Yes? No? I don't know what Kelly put here.
Maybe so.
Case by case.
There we just aged ourselves.
I don't know.
I don't know, or case by case.
So yeah, definitely. You can't, because then it gets out of control if you say you can't fundraise if you're doing this, or that.
Well, no,
You know?
but people raise
it's like
the
debanking people.
Yeah, well, and people say, well, you shouldn't be able to raise money or make money off of proceeds of crime. It's not Carmelo Anthony saying, like, buy my merch type thing. It was the family saying, look, we got to do things for ourselves, and we're suffering as a result of what I believe is an act
No,
of
but that's
murder
what
by
the
their kid.
comments were implying, which is why it's weird that Jacob Wells disabled commenting on Shiloh Hendricks' fundraiser, but didn't on Carmelo Anthony's. On the next slide, there's the community note that shows that, and as well as all his repeated arguments of, I can't shut down the Carmelo Anthony comment section, it's free speech. I've never seen a meaningful argument for disabling the free speech.
Did he not
component of
disable
it.
on both?
No, he disabled it on Shiloh's.
Yeah, that's
He
weird.
did not disable it on Carmelo's. So these two things are perfectly linked. Because if you looked at the comments on the Carmelo Anthony Give, Send, Go, it is people saying, yeah, I'm glad you killed that white MFer. It's about time white people got what's coming to them.
That's
people
the unfortunate thing about
Shiloh's, too.
that's the unfortunate thing about black people. Though. They have no idea who they should be mad at. Like they should be infinitely more mad at the government and the CIA than white people. Like white people and black people have like the vast majority of things in common. But what we don't have in common is that the CIA like pumped drugs into black neighborhoods for the last 70 years after we kind of segregated them to like specific areas, and then the government changed the laws to make the crimes more years in jail for if you have drugs on you.
What level of CIA psyop made Carmelo Anthony
I don't
stab
think
Austin
that's-
Metcalf in the heart?
I don't think that's a black-white issue. I think that's an uneducated issue.
No,
I think there's
I'm saying
equally
that-
the amount of white people who don't understand
Yes.
what the United States government has done by infiltrating black communities with drugs in the 80s
and
with crack cocaine. But when you say that's the problem with black people, they're
No, with
not
their
aware
with their
of this.
with their anger, like that's the problem with like who they're being angry at, because like they're the ones who get like, oh, white people this, white people that, but like no, look at like what caused your communities like wreaked havoc on your communities. It's that the government pumped drugs into your communities specifically, and then changed the laws to make more time in jail for those things. Like if you possess crack, you're suddenly in jail for 20 years, for 30 years. So like the number of people in jail like skyrocketed in the 80s, and I never hear people talk about that. They just say like, oh, racist, this, that, white. Like white people and black people have the vast majority of things in common, but neither of us have a lot in common with the government.
Yeah, and what he's saying is it's the uneducated, which they do it on purpose, not to let people know how do we get to this point. And just like what Margaret Singer, the biggest murderer of fucking black people, was a white lady that pushed Planned Parenthood, which is like has killed how many millions and millions and millions of black children, but nobody says shit. And you're right. It's not. But as you guys, how many times are you going to hear? Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. That's what they do. They can't have us loving each other. That's why they push that shit.
Yeah, like
That
the
is
people
the
who have in
question.
common are fighting the most. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Well, that is the theory behind this. Some people are saying that they're using the term either white fatigue or black fatigue. I forget which way they're using it, but they're saying Shiloh is now just a representation of white America getting fed up with statistical overrepresentation of black crime, and this is the expression of it. It's just a word, and she's now showing all of our frustration. So here's $10,000 by way of an anonymous donation. At one point on the top donations, it was like they were doing like an auction. It was going $2,000, then 2001, then 2002, then 2003. Someone was telling me that they were actually spelling out the N-word in the donations, which really leads me to believe that there's something fundamentally inorganic about this. Or at the very least, it's just a woman who is now saying, hey, this is a good grift. I can capitalize off my racism. If she's a bona fide racist, or if you don't think it's racism, I don't know how you don't think referring to a young person as the N-word, even if they were stealing your 18-month-old son's stuff. I mean, berating a child, let alone on a racial element, is a problem to me already, but I'm just the polite sissy Canadian who doesn't understand the
As
racial
a polite,
divide.
sissy American, I agree with you.
No, you imagine
Calling
like a-
anybody, regardless of their age, the N-word is inexcusable, let alone doing it to a child.
Yep. All right. What else? What other clips do we have? I mean, that's Jacob Wells.
I just want to say though, in the grand scheme of things to be mad at, like somebody saying the N-word, okay, sure, that's like a 4 out of 10. Somebody pumping drugs into your neighborhood, that should be a 10 out of 10 because like that like set your whole family back generations.
The one of the main arguments is the double standard that the black community can use the N-word, but the white community can't. I'm like, I refer to I don't have, what are they called? Pet names for spouses? But like my mother calls my father Piglet. If someone on the street calls my father Piglet, it won't start a fight, but it would be mildly inappropriate.
Yeah.
Within a community, within a relationship, you have different names. There's a different level of familiarity that you don't have in society at large.
But if someone called your dad Piglet on the street, would he turn around and stab them?
No, my dad would say, how the hell did
that is the
Barbara?
that is the standard right now, where people are comparing what Shiloh Hendricks did to what Carmelo Anthony did and said, oh, those are both equally bad. One woman said a word, the guy stabbed a kid in the heart And you're trying to say
and
those
he
are the
died
same
in
thing.
his brother's arms.
It's no,
But that's why this is an insane thing that needs to be called out, because the standard is if a white person says the N-word, that is akin to a physical assault that can be met with violence.
The real issue is people were rightly outraged the degree to which Carmelo was raising funds off what many people believe to be a racially motivated act, and whether or not I don't think it was racially motivated until evidence to the contrary, but even raising money off of his murder. I believe it was murder. Then people think that's disgusting, that's horrific. So now let's go do it reciprocally, not with an act of violence, but with a white woman using the N-word. And that's how we're going to show them, A, that it's wrong, and that's how we're going to get back at them by making this woman, if it was a bona fide racist use of the N-word, to make her close to a millionaire. I mean, that's like the final answer on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. N-word, like, oh, great. So now she's rewarded for what is a bad act. It's not anywhere. It's not even comparable to violence, but she's rewarded for it. And what does that teach anybody?
Think about this though. So, like, how much of a role does the media play? Because, like, the Luigi Mangione thing, the Carmelo Anthony thing, like, how much of a role does the media play in, like, the amount of fundraising or support going towards them? Because the thing about if the media covered it differently, if the media wasn't reporting so much, and like, oh wow, they're getting all the support, they're raising all this money. Like, I think that shapes the vast majority of the narrative.
Yeah, but then you look at the algorithm, and my algorithm was filled with Dave Portnoy and Shiloh Hendricks all weekend. So is it just the mainstream media, or is this the actual public's interest in these topics? Because my feed was nothing but clips of Dave Portnoy and rebuttals to him, and clips of this woman calling the kid the N-word, and then people rebutting that.
That's
but just
it's engagement. I mean, that's what social media is for. The issue with my particular issue with the Shiloh one is that there's a lot of, I think, bad faith players in it trying to tie it to MAGA so they can then say, look how fundamentally racist.
We
don't even know if that woman voted Democrat. Like, she's from Minnesota. It's closer than it was in the past, but she could be a Biden supporter.
MAGA has nothing to do with this. Trump hasn't commented on it. The Republican Party has
as if anybody
who voted for what doesn't matter. That's why there's certain issues that can't be mapped onto the right-left dichotomy. It's other issues outside of that spectrum that people have opinions on. That's what they're responding to with these donations. And whether it's, black people giving money to Carmelo Anthony saying, yeah, kill all the whiteys.
In my day, I had to sit on the back of the bus.
Or
now
people giving money to Shiloh Hendricks saying, yeah, we're tired of these N-words. Let's spell out the N-word as we give the donations. It's not a right-left thing. It's touching a bigger, deeper issue that goes far beyond party registration.
Well, right-left is just as much divide and conquer as black and white, though. Like, it's like the ultimate divide and conquer, and like all of it's just to make us look the other way while we're getting ripped off collectively.
Yep. Yeah, but you're making it sound as if we all just get together and burn down the CIA, suddenly it's all peace and harmony. Like, no, there are fundamental issues that divide people along lines. Like, I will never have solidarity with people who are 100% pro-abortion because I am 100% anti-abortion. On that issue, we're not going to reconcile on that because that is a fundamentally different way of viewing the world.
You're not going to fight in the streets over it.
We're not going to fight in the streets over it, but there will be, some kind of decision that has to be made on that.
When Ian Carroll was blaming the bankers, did he entertain the idea that Shiloh was in on it? Because for those who don't know, Shiloh is a name of Hebrew origin, which means tranquil peace or rest. And then the retort to that is, virtually every name is of biblical or Hebrew origin, like John, Samuel, all of these things. But it's what's so wild about this is that people are saying it's Jewish funded and they're trying to divide and conquer, and she's just standing up to the plot to replace us with Somalis, and that's why she's mad. And then others are saying she's in on it. Her name is Hebrew. Can't you all see the dots? Everyone's connecting the dots like that.
It's just weird though. It's so funny during Biden. Everybody apparently was no racism. Everybody was good. No cops killed anybody. And then all of a sudden, during Trump, we're 3 months in, the racial fucking fire, the flame is lit. I don't buy into that.
It's just noise.
It just, guess what? There's racist people out there. Stay the fuck away from them if you can. That's it. And if you encounter them, put them on blast, and the world will see it. Anyway, moving on to something I think that's more important. A settlement in the principal, Ashli Babbitt, for all you guys that don't remember, she was a veteran, I believe Air Force veteran that went to the Capitol on January 6th to just protest. I don't use the I word because I think it's absolute horseshit. The settlement in principle has been reached between the U.S. government and the family of Ashli Babbitt, who was shot by Capitol Police while attempting to breach the Speaker's lobby during the January 6th Capitol gathering. The $30 million wrongful death.
The celebration against corruption.
That was a great pivot.
Thank you.
Gathering.
The guided tour where they stayed within the velvet ropes.
Yeah, $30 million wrongful death lawsuit alleging the unnecessary and negligent force by Lieutenant Michael Byrd. Through internal investigations by the Justice Department and Capitol Police, found Byrd acted appropriately and may have saved lives. And by the way, all Democratic-run house, all that shit, all these people
shoot an unarmed 115-pound woman in the throat and claim you saved lives, you
and
coward.
the settlement remains undisclosed. I guess the parties are, it's all but done. They're all going to sign it. Her death has become a rallying cause for Trump supporters, intensifying the political controversy surrounding the case. And I want to ask the chat, and I don't know if you guys remember, are we going to show, we can't show her laying there or anything like that, but there is the shot. We do have the shot, Rob. I don't know how much of this, can we just play this? And I just want to warn everybody, there is going to be a gunshot. And mind you guys, as you guys can tell, nobody here is armed, okay? The only person that's armed are the police, and there's another cop on the other side. So if you want to play this, and I want to ask the chat a question, play the clip. Rob, is that Rob?
I've actually filmed. So you wouldn't be able to see me.
The guys are camera staff.
Let me through. I got a knife. I got a knife.
Get me through. I got a knife.
I got a knife.
Oh, because they're trying to get through the glass, I guess.
By the way, who knows how many feds are in there?
Oh, I'd say
yeah.
most of the ones with their faces covered.
Most of them are. Look at cops. Well, the fact that they're wearing masks makes me laugh.
Oh, those are the cops.
And Congress is in
These are just chambers. It's not like there's gold in there. There's not an armory in there. That's Ashli Babbitt in the back.
Wait, look to the left mirror. You'll see the handgun.
We want you to go home. I'm recording, and there's so many people. It's just they're gonna push their way
We
up
skip
here.
forward slightly. We'll get to.
it's almost there.
It's almost at the end.
I don't want to see you get hurt. We will
Look in the back.
We will make a path dead ass.
I think someone says he's got a gun, but Ashli.
Nobody had a gun.
No. They're saying the cop because he's pointing. He starts to point. They see it before Ashli gets up on the crowd.
No, try to get through. There's still a few minutes left in the video, so if you skip forward,
Skip forward.
because you see they start to break the window, and this is kind of where it comes out.
I mean, this is where you.
Yeah, I don't get how this is wrongful.
No. I mean,
You don't get how this is
I don't get how shooting her was wrongful.
No,
No, you'll see right here. Watch. So they're trying to get in there.
Right there. It's all right
There's
on the
Michael
left.
Byrd, right there.
He's pointing a gun.
There's.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
him?
Yeah.
He has no reason to have the gun out. Look. He's pointing a gun. Look at his shot. Oh, dude.
She's about to climb.
Okay, now stop. You can stop it right there. Now, do you guys... okay, listen. They're breaking in. They're trying to come in, okay? No threat. No gun. No knife.
Well, some will say that is the threat.
Yeah, they're a violent mob.
No, violent mob. Nobody's armed. But hold on. They haven't killed anybody. They haven't done anything. Guess what you do? You leave the building. Get the hell
Or
out
at
of
the
the
very
building.
least, deploy non-lethal measures like pepper spray, rubber bullets, tear gas, whatever. They were tear gassing people out front, so clearly they had it. But this goes to the point that the Capitol Police were deliberately not reinforced. Trump requested the National Guard be present. Nancy Pelosi denied it. The Capitol Police requested additional personnel. They were denied. They were deliberately set up to where they were in a position of being desperate and short-staffed against an aggressive mob that, was like, what, 40, 50%
Oh, that's
feds
true,
at
but
least?
she's an idiot for trying to climb through the window
course,
where
yeah,
Congress
they-
is. Like,
they-
of course you're going to get shot. What do you think is going to happen if you
Well,
go
no,
to
stop
Trump's
there.
limo?
That's where I've at the beginning, people said faff out, fuck around, find out, or play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Summary execution is not what you expect from, even you call it felony trespass. You don't expect to get summarily executed when there was, by all reasons, no reason to even escalate to lethal force within that proximity of time. So, yeah, you accept maybe you get beaten up. You say maybe you're taking some serious risks by doing that. But within the realm of plausible outcomes, getting executed by if race plays a role in when it's a white cop on a black victim, a black cop shooting an unarmed white woman, he doesn't know she's unarmed. There's no reason to do that. Imagine if at any point during BLM riots, a white cop summarily executed a black protester who was trying to enter the courthouse.
He was just
But
trying to hold down the
they're
CVS.
outnumbered like 10-1 though. Like if a group
But,
of 10
but that's why you retreat. They did evacuate.
But
You
they were
evacuate.
stuck in that room.
Well, but
No, that hallway? No, there's a
just a
whole
whole other half of
hallway
the
corridor.
building.
There's doors to leave the building, number one. Number two, Brandon, besides them turning down National Guard, besides the setup to make everything happen exactly how it was going to happen, that's why all these people got freaking pardoned and released. Look,
Yeah, I agree with that.
hold on, plain and simple. So now they're at this door. Mind you, they were let into the Capitol. The doors are open. Cops were giving them the okay. Now they get to this sacred chamber and you lock them in. Open the thing, let them go through. They're going to be walking through anywhere. Now you've created this funnel where everybody's in there. Then they start breaking the door. He's been pointing his gun out. Zero excuse, Brandon. That's why you, me, him, the government is going to pay with our tax dollars $30 million to her family because he's a wrongful death. He shouldn't have pulled out his gun and he shouldn't have shot him. They open the door, let these freaking maniacs walk through and do what they're going to do. If you feel threatened, if they come up to you with the stick and try to stab you, boom, 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 shoot everybody. That's how it is. He's a Capitol Police. You're not an executioner. Let her jump through. She's a fucking girl. What is she going to do? Pull your hair?
Were members of Congress in that room?
Some of them were. Everybody in that building
Most
on the other
of
side
them
was
had
all
probably
covered.
been evacuated.
I remember
by
hearing
this
that
point.
members of Congress were past that door.
Brandon, do you believe anything that they say
No,
about who was there?
I don't.
I don't believe none of them.
Flip side. I mean, and this is not to say like shoot him in the leg or shoot him in the arm. That's not plausible. But pepper spray, taser. I mean, it would have been much. Pepper spray in that instance would have been.
Brandon, one pepper spray. I don't know if you've been pepper sprayed. Everybody's leaving,
and not just
including
that,
the cops on the other side.
And not just that,
Yeah.
like then you learn after the fact that Michael Byrd has had a tumultuous time as a police officer. He left his firearm in the Capitol Police Building washroom for an extended period of time before he realized he forgot it there.
There's photos of him just before this incident where he's inside the congressional chamber. He's holding his gun with his finger on the trigger pointed at members of Congress and other congressional staff because he has no muzzle discipline.
Yeah.
And he's like, he very easily could have shot and killed members of Congress himself. He was probably the biggest threat to them in that room that day.
No question he was.
And you can't even really say he was specifically aiming for Ashli Babbitt. He basically just
shot.
fired blindly into a
And by
crowd
the way,
because they scared him.
I know, by the way, I'm an expert on guns. I know how to shoot. I'm nasty. Just the way he was holding it and the way he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. That guy's not a freaking professional, and that's what happens. And that's how you lose $30 million going to her family. And I want to ask the audience. I want to ask you guys. Do you guys agree with the government settlement? Yes? No?
Maybe so.
Maybe so.
Did you know how
It's
much?
not a shocking outcome though. It's just not a shocking outcome to like be breaking the Congress and then try to break through a door where police are on the other side of it. And like you get like I'm not shocked that she got shot.
Oh,
Like,
of course not. I'm not trying to say, it's some big mystery that,
you should expect to get shot if you're trying to
Exactly.
break
Everyone
through a
who
door
went
in
there
Congress.
should have assumed that by the time you start breaking doors and throwing things, that they're going to start arresting people. They're going to start sending you to
But
jail.
it's not as if guys, the mob was killing anybody. It was all Nobody died except people had strokes and shit days later. The only people that died were her. She was shot and fucking murdered. Period. And one other person.
Roseanne Boyland, who was trampled by the police.
Who was trampled by police officers.
Well, if we're going to assume that those people are going to break in and they have bad intentions, is it that big of a stretch for the officer that's behind that glass to assume that those people have weapons?
no.
Right? So, like, I disagree with shooting the woman to death, but at the same time, that officer is in a situation where people already broke the law by breaching the Capitol and being inside of a place, trespassing. At a minimum, at a maximum destruction of property.
But particularly now,
They have the mindset
like
of
in
working with the
in
government.
a modern context, cops aren't allowed to shoot on the assumption that you have a
No,
gun.
no, that's right.
They have to.
Bro.
They are only allowed to escalate to lethal violence when they are met with the threat of lethal violence.
There was nothing
Ashli
lethal.
Babbitt was very clearly not holding anything when she was going
and
through
guess
that
what?
window.
He's protecting the chamber. You know what you asked? All those people in that looking out those corridors, leave the building, exit out the back. Oh, but by the way, there's no National Guard to protect you. Why? Because Nancy Pelosi and them fucking denied it and said, no, we don't want it. Why? Because they wanted this exact situation to happen.
I'm surprised that Trump has not called for some type of
He
investigation
has
into
repeatedly.
Why haven't they opened
That's
one?
part of why this is
Settlement
going on.
happened.
The settlement is going on because remember the Biden administration did an investigation with the Capitol Police, and they said, good shoot, nothing happened. This was an interview that Michael Byrd did shortly after. He said he saved a lot of lives by shooting her in the neck. But Trump repeatedly called for, identify the person who did it. We need to, be looking into this. This was not a good shoot. He talked about it during his, subsequent years out of office and then his campaign as well. So I think that's probably why they've reached a settlement.
Not Ashli Babbitt. I'm talking about the actual videotape that we've seen of Nancy Pelosi denying the request of the National Guard to be sent. Why is he not investigating that? Why is there not some type of investigation into what was the protocols that were put in place that day, or the resources that were withheld from the Capitol Police and the Capitol building itself to allow this to happen?
He's
now Dan Bongino is deputy director at the FBI, and Dan Bongino is going hard on the Jan 6 being the pipe bombs being an inside job. Give it a little bit of time, but don't let up on the pressure for them to come out with the truth of what happened there. Just a little trivia. You know that Michael Byrd started a Go F Me after this? Do you know how much he raised?
How much?
$165,000
for killing somebody.
For killing
somebody.
Wow, and there was.
Way to go.
I'm not going to get too conspiratorial, but there was. I couldn't find the email right now, but there was discussion where, he was complaining about the fact that he wasn't getting enough compensation to increase security, all this other stuff after the kill. But the other thing that's amazing is you spend enough time on the internet. I get emails and messages from people who say Ashli Babbitt's not dead, and you can see in that video he shoots the plane, whatever. What do you have here we don't know if it's the full $30 million that the government's settling for, but you have the Trump administration agreeing to this settlement to highlight the egregious injustice that was carried out under the Biden administration.
Good.
That man should be in jail. He didn't follow protocol in terms of escalation to lethal force. He was an incompetent jackass from the beginning. He didn't save anybody. It's arguable that he was out there to make an example of one of the protesters, so the media can then say, "Look how violent this protest was."
How about a warning shot, Brandon? How about you shoot?
No, you can't do that. You can't
no
do that.
warning
There's
shot.
people-
How long do you wait though? Like she's trying to climb through. She gets through. Like then what? Like how long do you
wait
And
until
Brandon,
there is
hold
the
on.
threat of lethal force.
What is a female going to do to you?
She could have a bomb in the bag.
Like
I'll steel man it. She could have a bomb in the bag.
And the whole group code came through once she gets through. That's opening up.
But Brandon, and what are they doing? They're just trying to go through the whole Capitol. They didn't pummel anybody. They didn't beat up anybody.
Some people are going there with the mindset
You're
of
not
overthrowing the government.
allowed to just start opening fire into
That's
a
the
crowd
point.
on
You're
the
also
assumption
not allowed
that
to break into the Capitol
I mean, come
building.
on. What are we talking about?
But there's not the
consequence for trespass.
Yes, there is.
The consequence for trespass is not summary execution.
Brandon,
Wait, hold on though. If you break into my home, I don't know what your intentions are. If I have a gun, I'm shooting you. The Castle Doctrine, it exists here in the state of Florida.
Let me clarify that. The People's Building. This is government property.
A government building
property,
defended by
hold on.
cops, not
Government
private
property
residents.
Not breaking into someone's abode,
So
which
Brandon,
is
here's
far
my question.
different.
And it is a government
Brandon.
government
hit me.
property. Let's say the door opens. Let's say they open. They all come through. Is he going to shoot everybody? Is
No.
he going to empty his? Well, why not?
no.
Because now the door's breached. Because by the way, they still got in there afterwards. So the door gets open. Do you think he gets it? Well, he probably has like 15 round clip. Should he just shoot everybody that's coming through that door? Think
No.
about it. Wait. So then why? Because she breached first. She gets shot. And then that's it.
and notice he only fired once.
I think you have the reason to be afraid for like your safety if somebody's trying to break through a door that's closed.
Then he should have. Guess what? In that hole, shoot everybody else because they're inevitably going to come through and try to kill you.
But
Then-
they didn't continue to try going through though. From
no, after once they got her out, they all freaking
because
kept trying
turns
to go
out
through.
once you're met with the trigger happy cop who shoots women in the throat, you tend to not continue going that direction.
Listen, and listen, there's no way the government, Trump or whoever, is going to agree to settle $30 million unless it was a wrongful death. That guy has no business pulling the trigger and shooting somebody. And the way that he was holding it, and she saw it. You're not supposed to shoot the person. I'm sorry. It's a shitty situation. The last thing you do is pull the trigger and then ask questions last.
But not just that. He could have just as easily killed one of the cops that was guarding the door, or a cop behind her.
What do you mean?
It goes through her. It's but people are going to They're going to accuse Trump of politicizing the settlement by paying her this. What they're going to say is an egregious amount of money simply to make the Biden administration look bad. The bottom line is they need to right a lot of the wrongs from the Biden administration. Jan 6 settlements should be upcoming as well. There's a number of persecutions and lawfare that the Biden administration initiated or didn't pursue that the Trump administration should rectify right now.
Yeah, well, guess what?
What do you think?
Good for her. Good for her.
What do you think would happen if you go to the governor's mansion right now and you like, jump the gate and like run to the door?
Well, it just happened.
You start trying to break into the door.
You can burn it down if you burn it away.
Like in Florida, not Pennsylvania.
That governor, that's his private residence.
That's a private residence.
It's
not a government building.
But his house and his family sleeping.
What happened to the people who took over
building.
the police station in Chop Chaz?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No, they got settlements. That's an exaggeration, I think.
Literally.
They built the
I'm
settlement
saying in a normal
the
place
city.
like Florida.
About
No,
6
but
weeks.
I don't remember
which
which at
one.
night when they're sleeping, private residence, when they're sleeping with their family, and somebody breaks in and
You're
burns the
asking
whole
for
thing down.
death.
You get to protect yourself. This is a whole different situation. You get your dumb ass out of there. Go save yourself.
Flip side,
Go down the hallway. Open the door and let them go through.
No, imagine they're breaking into a Walmart for Black Friday. I mean, like you don't get to open fire.
No, but it's a closed building with people that people
it's not
want
a closed
to
building.
No,
That's
it's
the whole
not. It's a
point.
government building.
When it's
Also,
in session, it's closed. It's
The
not constantly open.
The number of times they have allowed protesters much further into the Capitol during
all the time.
leftist events.
Yeah.
They got in an elevator with Kavanaugh. Execution. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
there
like-
are leftist groups that have bombed the congressional chamber before. The Weather Underground, I believe, was one of the ones that pulled that off.
It's an uncontrolled situation with people that are in Congress. In
Yeah,
that
that's
door,
what
You don't
pass by
exert
door.
control over the situation by shooting people
it's not
indiscriminately.
it's not Tiananmen Square. You don't like. It's not 2014 Ukraine either. You don't open fire on protesters in the street.
Yeah, it's not, Brandon. I get what you're saying.
But I appreciate
about the situation. The last thing you do when you're a cop, Capitol Police, military, anything. The last resort is pull out your fucking gun and shoot somebody
Point
to
blank,
death.
point
And a
blank.
veteran female of all things. That's the last thing you do. Period. It's unless you're physically, like, he's coming at me with a knife or I feel like I'm threatened. And mind you, in the street, if you're going to get jumped by 20 people and you feel like you're like, he doesn't have to be there. Get your dumb ass down the hallway. Get the fuck outside. There's a bunch of cops on the opposite side. Leave the situation. He wanted to use his gun. He's standing there pointing, waiting, and the way he shot it, that guy doesn't look like he knows shit about a gun. And from what you're saying, leaving it there and pointing it at other people in Congress, that guy has no business. I'm happy that the family's getting the money. To hell with him and to hell with all the Biden administration and Nancy Pelosi for letting that shit happen. The secret's out. We know what the hell they did. They thought using that situation was going to hurt Trump. Okay? They thought grabbing by the was going to hurt Trump. They thought Russia collusion was going to hurt Trump. Nothing has worked. Nothing. And this was their main one because they knew he was going to run in 2020 and that was going to help. They knew it, and it helped.
That did
And it
work
helped.
short term.
That with COVID.
That's what censored him.
Exactly. They shut him up. So, but guess what? Back, winning. Oh, it's just Alcatraz. The next one.
Speaking of
Best
things
segue
we're doing
ever.
now that he's back.
Arabian Gulf. Did you hear that today?
No.
It's no longer going to be called. America will no longer refer to the Persian Gulf as the Persian Gulf. It's now the Arabian Gulf.
Good.
And then
Persia.
Iran's like, we're mad about that. And he went, I don't care.
Yeah.
Trump.
There's no Persia. All right, guys. So wait, this one's undocumented. Okay, this is Alcatraz.
You guys saw the not just as a little segue. You saw Mark Carney meeting with Trump yesterday, and the reporter
bitched.
says,
How-
"Is there anything that he can say to make you drop the tariffs?" Nope.
Nah.
Why not? Just the way it is, mother effer.
Did you see the day before where they're like, so what do you think Mark Carney's coming for? He goes, I have no idea why
Yeah,
he's coming.
I don't know.
and
He just wants to come. I
Probably
get it.
wants
We got
to make
good
a
coffee
deal.
at the White House.
I might have to talk to this guy. But just Carney's body language. Just I thought of you when I saw him.
a little
He's such a
he's a sissy.
he's a twerp. Anyway,
And a liar.
all right. So guys,
And a globalist whore.
yeah. Next story.
banker.
Trump announced the other day. I'm pretty sure everybody knows. Plans to reopen and expand Alcatraz prison, aiming to house what he described as America's most ruthless and violent offenders, including undocumented migrants. Trump directed federal agencies such as the Bureau of Prisons, Department of Justice, FBI, and Homeland Security to collaborate on a significantly rebuilt facility, presenting it as a symbol of law, order, and justice. I want to know, this is his tweet. Connor, could you read it? Because I can't read that far.
Rebuild and open Alcatraz. For too long, America has been
Thank you.
plagued by vicious, violent, and repeat criminal offenders, the dregs of society who will never contribute anything other than misery and suffering.
Capitalized.
I love the way Trump plays
Randomly.
with capitalization. It harkens back to like the 1700s.
Well, by the way,
They used to do
because
that.
I just saw some behind the scenes stuff. He just says it, and somebody's sitting there
Yeah.
Yeah,
typing.
they have that
it
lady
up.
called the human printer that's a super fast typer.
She's so fast. She's like Rob. It's a Rob.
fast
but
fingers.
But mind you, by the way, you might find one. Have you ever seen Donald Trump on his phone? Never. When I was around Donald Trump, President Trump, he was sitting on an iPad playing loud ass music.
I've
never seen him. I've never seen Trump like.
Do you see that there was a thing that they apparently found out like a while back that he used to have somebody follow him around where they had like a printer connected to a generator so he could read everything hard copy instead of reading it on a screen.
Yeah,
as he's dictating this, he goes, criminal offenders, capital C, capital O. The dregs of society, lowercase d, lowercase s.
I want to ask you guys really quick because I want to move on to the next one. Rob, what do you guys think? Like, is he joking? Is he just trying to be Trump? You know how Trump is? Or do you guys think that this is a viable situation? Because I mean, Alcatraz right now makes millions on tourism. It's a museum. It's out there. Do you guys think, because, you know, the left, you're not going to make the left happy. We send them back to their country while they're illegal. They flip out. We send congressmen, men and women to go grab them and bring them back. Now he's like, you know what? Our prisons are full. We have nowhere else to put them. Let's reopen one that's already been opened and dump these scumbags there. What do you guys think?
No, it's a smart move. It's like he not the Alcatraz thing, but I think it's just a smoke screen. It's like that's one of the smartest things he's doing. He's saying like this crazy stuff that people react to while he's doing the real stuff, and while they're talking about the stupid stuff. Because we don't have a prison shortage. We have like too many people in jail who shouldn't be in jail. Like 43% of the people in jail right now are nonviolent drug offenders because of the whole scandalous thing that like Reagan, Bush, and Clinton all did, where they loaded up the streets of drugs and then increased the jail time for drugs. So I think a lot of people should be let out of jail that are nonviolent drug offenders, and then we'd have plenty of room for the people who are actually dangerous.
I love it. And I want to ask the chat, and I want to get your guys' opinions as well. Should Alcatraz be reopened? Yes? No? Only if modernized? What the fuck?
Only, how do you modernize a prison?
Well,
modernize it to make it more
Donald
painful.
Trump is a freaking real estate guy. You go in there, you fix it. I wouldn't make it nice. I just get all the water, all the piping, all the everything set up. Guys, and at the end of the day, these are illegal, violent criminals. If that's what we're talking about, I don't want... Listen, they are the worst of the world. We always say, put them on an island. That's the island.
I love the idea. The underlying question is it more profitable to have it as a tourist attraction than as an operation?
Well, profitable, profitable, yes.
Because of the millions of dollars it breaks in. If you go back, throw up the Truth Social post again, I want to call attention to the end of what he says here. Like, we will no longer be held hostage by criminals, thugs, and judges that are afraid to do their job and allow us to remove criminals who came into our country illegally. The reopening of Alcatraz will serve as a symbol of law, order, and justice, and we will make America great again. I think he's saying this primarily as a symbol because Alcatraz has the reputation of like the worst prison we ever had. You know, it was for the worst of the worst people on an island out in the middle of the ocean. Nobody ever escaped. The only people who got out were those three guys, and it's not even confirmed they made it to land. They might have just died on the way. I think it's more about he's pissed off at the judges who won't let him deport people because we have activist judges who decide that it's more important to protect the feelings of illegal immigrants than it is to actually protect the country. But he's talking about Alcatraz as like, we need more things like that. But if they did reopen it, I think that would be a good place to throw the worst of the worst of our own and illegal immigrants.
Well, what will happen, and it's all roads lead to Guantanamo, because he's going to say, look, you won't let me deport them. Let's threaten them with Alcatraz. There's going to be uproar. They're going to say, no, it's a great, profitable tourist attraction. All right, Gitmo it is. So self-deport, you'll get your $1,000, or you'll go to Gitmo. And the irony is that by, bring back Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and then send him to Gitmo, I think he would have been happier in his, apartment condo that he had in El Salvador. It's a threat. I don't think it comes to fruition, but it does leave him to say, well, Guantanamo it is.
Okay.
You know what the capacity is? It's 336, so it's like a minuscule amount of people that it could hold. So I think it's like what you said, symbolic. It's just like to get the attention of the media. Like it wouldn't do anything meaningful to open it back up.
336.
Yeah.
Well, there's that one prison in New York. I forget which one it is, but it's like the big correctional. No, it's not Sing Sing. It's one of their other big ones, but it's the one where they currently have incarcerated all in the same cell block Diddy, Sam Bankman-Fried, and Luigi Mangione.
Oh, wow.
It's like they're putting together a suicide squad up in New York
Suicide
prison.
Squad prison.
Yeah,
the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn.
That's where Epstein didn't kill himself, right?
Well, that's where the cameras malfunctioned and the doors were open.
And that's where the security guards were sleeping or something.
So it's like there's a bunch of nefarious stuff going on over there. So we could reopen the other prison on the other coast and see what we can accomplish with that one as well.
Speaking of crazy, well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, logistically, to have an island prison at the 336 max, I don't know how much staff you would need to man a 336
Well, that's part of why they closed it, because there's no water source on the island, so everything you need has to be shipped in. So logistically, like even water, they had to bring over by the boatload.
There's a nice building in Death Valley they can repurpose for a prison.
Yeah.
That's a tough
We
place
just
to
need
get
to
out
put more
as well.
people in the Supermax out in Colorado.
Speaking of crazy ideas and people's
Crazy
minds,
people.
Joe Biden's mental decline. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to this. I mean, guys, I saw a video recently of like just him like barely being able to speak. It's so like when we were experiencing in the moment, you couldn't say like we would talk shit, but nobody could say anything. Everybody act like the left act like it was okay. It would drive me nuts because we all knew he was making zero decisions. I think the only decision he was making when he was like pudding. I want pudding instead of yogurt.
Well, ice cream. He was a big fan of ice cream.
Yeah. So, MSNBC host and former White House press secretary Jen Psaki, or I like to call her the ginger swindler, she insisted in an interview that she never saw signs that President Joe Biden had declined while she worked for him. She said, and I quote, "I never saw that person. Not a. Oh, is this it?
Yeah.
So she's mentally retarded.
Is so like what a soulless, just
Well,
vapid.
that might be just because she's ginger.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Before you play this, look at her tongue. I don't know if she's going to do the lizard tongue.
Ooh.
Repeat it.
does she?
When she talks, it
Oh,
drives
I want to
me
see it. Let's
ballistic.
play this. Play this demon lizard.
I left in May of 2022, just for the facts here. And I have seen Biden once since then, when I took my daughter to the holiday party this last December after he had lost. And
there's the tongue.
so I hadn't
wow.
seen him in person during that period of time. I never saw that person, not a single time.
Liar.
And I was in the Oval Office every day.
That person.
That was on that debate stage. I'm not a doctor. Aging happens quite quickly.
Yeah,
Things that
right. I'm
people
not a
saw
doctor.
during that period of time that were similar to that or would have been in a category of that. I don't know, possibly, right? And all these books are going to tell us.
Like, do you think that were they actively covering it up? Were they sort of in denial, or was that just a bad debate? Like, what is your read on that?
Jackass.
Well, this is what I
He
mean
read
about
9 books.
cover-up is a very loaded term, I think.
Well, it means
know?
you knew that it was really bad and you're pretending otherwise, versus you're deluding yourself, which I think is what people do a lot.
Well, I understand, but I still think it's like cover-up is often like a crime, right?
Yes,
when people
exactly.
use that
They
term.
say it's
as
worse
a
than
phrase.
the
Not if you're not.
People
covering
use
up
that
a
term as
crime.
they relate to
Yeah.
All right,
Watergate.
we can stop. I get sick.
She didn't do the lizard tongue. She's a rapacious dumbass.
I
is
love
what she is.
rapacious, guys.
This one's
great
good.
word.
Yep.
This is Senator Elizabeth Warren, another one. She faced some tough questioning during a recent podcast interview about her statements regarding Joe Biden's mental acuity. Who is this host?
He's definitely a liberal. Just listening to him speak, he
Oh,
sounds
look
like
at
a
his
liberal.
look. Everything is right there.
That's a man?
Cut the guy.
Cut your
Yeah.
hair, hippie.
I mean, yeah, cut your hair, hippie.
Who the guy is largely irrelevant.
She's
because-
dipping her toe in the podcast world, and this
Oh,
is her.
yeah. By the way, look
like,
at her
One
face.
of these random leftist podcast hosts who nobody's ever heard of that somehow manages to book senators.
Well, does he ask her a good
thought-
question?
Oh,
Yes.
no,
Yeah,
she
she,
said
she-
no.
she thought it was a safe
I
place.
actually respect him, Brandon,
Yeah.
because he actually goes, "You come on," and she's like, "Look at her.
But
look at Pocahontas' laugh."
Before we
So
play
she wasn't
this
expecting that.
goes to show that what we were saying while Biden was in office about he's losing his mind, he's not all there anymore. Like there's something wrong. This guy is not in charge of the country. Everybody denied it. Media officials, members of the government, members of the administration, everyone was like, "This is not happening." First, it started in little drips and trickles. First, it was a conspiracy, and then a few people started admitting it. Now we have like sitting members of the government admitting, yeah, Biden had problems.
Well, but even before we play this clip, did you hear that one of Hunter Biden's hookers went up to Joe Biden and offered him super sex, and he asked for the soup?
Nah.
Damn it! I screwed up the damn punchline by choking on my. That's an old.
Oh, you had me because I was like, really?
One of those like super
I
sex,
wanted
Joe.
to buy-
I'll take this. I'll take the soup.
Yes.
Make it with lentils.
So let's play this clip, and I actually respect this person, whoever it is, for actually checking her. By the way, look at his thumb on his left hand. Is that weird, or is it just me?
It's weird.
He's
It looks like an erect, weird
he's
penis.
You regret saying that President Biden had a mental acuity. He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not
at her
seen
hands.
decline.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
At that
Yo,
point.
rewind
did
that.
not see
Rewind
any
that.
decline
I
from
love that.
2024
Some
Joe
should, like,
Biden to
super-
Jake, yeah,
2021
go back.
Joe
Go
Biden.
back to the right. Go back. Look right here.
I said I had not seen decline.
Rob.
And I hadn't at that point.
You did not see any decline from 2024 Joe Biden to 2021 Joe Biden?
Not when I said that.
Liar.
Not
You know
when I
the-
said that.
The thing is,
I'm a liar.
look,
Look.
He was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him.
He was on his feet already.
I saw him.
I had meetings with him a couple of times.
Senator, on his feet is not praise.
Yeah, I like that.
He
guy.
can speak in sentences. Is
they
not
laugh in your
praise.
fucking face,
Fair
bro.
enough.
She knows she's a scumbag.
He picked up on his feet, so he was fucking walking.
This feels like
Congrats,
it feels like a
President.
Between Two Ferns segment of like.
Do we know that he's not a troll? He's not a troller guy, right?
He's
No,
not.
he's
not a troll.
No, like a right wing hiding.
No way.
Okay.
I can't imagine it. I've never seen him before this interview.
What's
but
his name?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, now I got to find out.
Yeah,
his name,
it was
but,
like a good question, and unless he's
No, I don't.
giving dressing up like the role.
But here, guys, here's the problem. Here's the problem with this whole situation, which I think, and I want to know what you guys. By the way, and I want to know what the audience thinks. Did Joe Biden's inner circle know before they propped him up? Yes, no, some covered it up, or of course. I want to know.
The only no's you're going to get in that chat is going to be trolls, because it's not that everybody knew it. It was everybody was saying it on one side. It's not they couldn't have even denied having been made aware of it.
So here's the problem. And by the way, every problem, and a lot of us, that's what this world is. We get on here, we talk crap, we push back, we argue, we have different points of view. I love it, and we leave, and we're all cool. Life goes on. But I have a problem because nobody had a solution, Brandon. And I'm being genuine, Connor, Rob. This was happening live in front of our face. All we heard for years, Donald Trump has the nuclear codes, he has the button. I don't listen to any of that shit. None of that. When we saw in real time Joe Biden, by the way, for years before, him falling apart by the way, that's why they kept him in the basement. He was not physically, mentally capable. He wasn't there. We, the people, had to sit there and go, wait, what the fuck? And we couldn't do anything. What's the solution? I need a solution. So I thought about this the other day. I think, and this is mandatory, anybody that is in Congress or wants to run for the president, or you're actively a member, period. Once you hit the age of 60 years old, and I'm being dead serious, 60 years old, every year, all right, there needs to be a cognitive test administered by a doctor, non-biased civilian doctor, okay, not the government's guy that we all pick, probably the best of the best in that field, and we put them in the room, and it's live streamed for everybody to see this test live. And if no bullshit, Rob, no nothing, Joe Biden would have failed. And if they fail, we see it, he's out. No, I'm being dead serious. The guy and he's making the decisions. And as we all are finding out, all these pre-pardon, all these auto spends, Joe Biden was not running the country. So it's almost a disservice to get mad and say, Biden did this. He didn't do shit. It was his administration. And that's why every time you saw him on stage, remember the time that he called Xi Jinping a dictator? And Anthony Blinken was like, like his soul was crushed because they knew he was up there. And every time he spoke, it was like a loose cannon. So I think that's the solution. Let us see it. Like even John Fetterman. If we the people, because they work for us, never forget that, see a John Fetterman, which, by the way, who the fuck, do you think you are wearing shorts and a hoodie and just big old dumbass ogre?
There's some new stuff coming out about John Fetterman recently.
Yeah, and I saw it.
Acting violent, walking into traffic.
Shoving people in
D.C. By the way, he's one of the main ones because he's had either strokes or brain aneurysms. I want to sit that asshole down in a freaking room and have him test it out. Do you remember? By the way, like all those, who's that oldest guy? Who's the oldest?
Mitch McConnell.
Chuck Grassley. Those guys are freaking corpses. Test them, and if they fail,
Fetterman staff described him as manic and unhinged at times. This is during what you were talking about, Connor, during his mental break. And his staff, this is a quote from a source inside his office. The staff feared that he might, and I quote, say really fucked up shit to constituents. End of quote. Can you imagine what it's like being inside of that office and going, guys, we're worried John Fetterman's going to say some fucked up shit to the people.
Said. Well, they were wheeling Dianne Feinstein into the Senate chamber. It's like she
voted 8 hours before she died or something like that.
She was a corpse. By the way, and you heard it because the mics were live. They're like, Feinstein, she went...
We'll take that gurgle as a yes.
Gurgle, yes. She said yes. No. There needs to be.
Remember Fetterman's debate though against Dr. Oz? Like he had to read off the teleprompter because his brain was still messed up, and like he's like, yeah, I think this. Like he sounded like he was like questioning everything he was saying. Like it was like his brain was clearly damaged.
And to that, the debates. When you talk about the administration not knowing about Biden's mental decline, well, take a look at the facts of what we do know about what they did. They turned the debates and moved the debates to an earlier point than ever has been done in human history. They also scheduled a debate between two people who were governors of states but were not in contention for the running of the office, between Gavin Newsom and DeSantis. Remember when they went up there?
Why?
And then Newsom's showing up at different, I guess
Republican
it was RNC events. All of what you look at, what they did leading up to the July 13th assassination of Donald Trump, or the attempt, and then was the debate before that or after that? I cannot remember. Before.
Yeah.
So everything leading up to that debate was them trying to find a way to swap him out. And then the debate, they put him on the debate stage way earlier than ever happens. That usually happens in what? August, September, October. Yeah. They're doing it in June and July. Why? Because they wanted to put Biden out there so that everybody could see him fall apart on the world's stage, so they could swap him out. And it's exactly what they did. They thought they could be able to ride identity politics into the Oval Office in 2025 by having a black woman be vice president, then take over as the candidate and run for president and win. And it failed spectacularly because the American public was like, we've had enough of this horse shit.
And I love it too. You nailed it. Because think about the timing. They do the debate. They move it up early, and they go, "Oh shit, he's gonna lose." How long after was the assassination attempt?
I think a month because
Trump
the debate was
Biden
in June.
Debate, Rob. Because Dave, it was
June 27th, 2024,
July
and then
13th.
July 13th.
Yeah, literally 2 weeks
month.
later, they shoot Trump in the ear.
Think about the time. By the way, booger almost flew out of my nose. Think about, guys, if this was a movie. I'm being genuine.
No one would believe it if it were a movie.
Put yourself in a movie where the president's this evil guy that everybody wants people to believe that's evil, and he's coming back. And the old guy that's falling apart, they move the debate early. He fails horribly. And then 2 weeks later, they're like, let's shoot this fucking guy in the head. Oh, and by the way, have CNN be there and live stream it because we want the world to see it. Wait a minute. CNN hasn't been at night. They've been to 94 rallies. They've never live streamed it. Trust me, live stream that one. We want the world to see. If you fuck around, you're going to get shot in the head. And then once it missed and they go, oh my God, the sniper sucked. He missed. Cue the black chick in and do everything. That's a movie that we lived in. 100. That's my belief. That's what I believe in. All right? Because that's so blatantly obvious in your face. And they lost.
They failed, and then they had another guy try to shoot him again a couple of months ago. And we don't talk about it anymore. Nobody talks about crooks and why why the parents haven't been sued for the act of the kid.
Encrypted phones?
His encrypted phones
to foreign countries.
What about Ryan Ralph and his connection to Ukraine, the people that hate Trump the most?
Why both attempted Trump assassins appeared in BlackRock commercials?
Nobody
ever discusses that
weird,
one.
Hey, weird.
I just want to
weird.
I think that my religious or spiritual tendencies spiked after July 13, but you appreciate if that bullet had caught the mark that crooks wanted it to catch. The world that we would be living in right now, there'd be no Ashli Babbitt settlement. There would be no Jan 6ers released, pardoned from prison. You would have 1,500 political prisoners rotting away in a gulag. You would have Kamala Harris or Nikki Haley and frickin' Mike Pompeo on the Republican side. We would be in World War III right now because that would have been the Franz Ferdinand bullet on steroids. And but for the grace of God, the miracle that we did witness, the world has gone in this trajectory where we have a transformational President Trump kicking out illegals, criminals, shutting down the border, cutting off the fentanyl. It's so wild that Mark Carney, the PM globalist whore out of Canada, comes down here and compliments Trump after having shit on him for the last 2 months, saying, you're a transformational president, you shut down the border, you protected Americans, you're looking out for Americans, God bless you. It's a miracle what we've lived through.
Great point. And I want to close, but here's my question. So the debates happen. When did Trump, the assassination attempt, when did Biden step down? Because I think if
a week after the assassination.
Well, so here's my question though: if Trump gets shot, Biden still stays as president.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm saying. So
he withdrew on 8 days later, July 21st of 2024. He withdrew from the Canada.
So if he's shot, guys. So notice this: if he's shot, Biden's still in. All the people that are doing all the signing and everything, Twitter's at jeopardy. Everything's at jeopardy. The border's still wide open, and you're. Oh my God!
And Republicans picked the replacement for Trump, which is going to be Nikki Haley. They say.
Which is why Mike Pompeo thought he had a chance to be VP.
Well, look at the RNC that happened right after he got shot. The stuff they did at the RNC, the rule changes they made, the way it was presented, made no sense for the energy Trump was bringing into it. But if you imagine a scenario in which Nikki Haley is on that stage accepting the nomination, it makes so much more sense.
Of course.
The entire Republican establishment was preparing for Nikki Haley to come in as the replacement for Donald Trump after he died.
You remember what Biden said to him when he called him after the assassination?
What?
And Biden said, why'd you move your head like that? This is what Trump said Biden told him over the phone.
Why'd you move your head?
And I'm thinking to myself, like, that's a weird thing for a demented old fart to say.
Yeah.
And he's like thinking, like, why'd you move your head like that? You weren't supposed to do that.
Why in God's name would you look at that chart?
It's such a weird thing to say.
Well, you know,
a miracle.
You know,
bona fide miracle.
You know what that says to me? Evil has plans. Nothing beats God's plan. And say what you want. That guy's supposed to be here, and the world's a better place for it. Say what you want. Facts. Don't give up about your feelings. Anyway, great show today, guys. Rob, I cannot believe you've been watching anime porn this entire time.
Also directing. I don't like to.
I get it.
And voiceover also.
Guys, everybody back there, Kelly, Jake, who else is back there? Anybody else? Any little rascals?
Malik's
there?
Yeah. I thought that's what they said.
Well, I love you guys to death. Again, guys, the merch, this.
Can I see that for a second?
Put that hat on, but put the
because the show's
over. You
over
should use that when you go fishing.
Absolutely.
Look at that. Let me see look at that. You look freaking great.
Word, I'm stealing this. And by the way, you want sun's not out. You can go like this. Nice. Sun is out. You get the rain dripping off the front and the back.
Look at I didn't.
Yeah. And then I bet you it's got a little thing in here. Well, it doesn't. You need a little zipper in here on the next one for
no, we don't do
hiding
stuff for your drugs. Anyway, guys, so the link's going to be in the description. Go to vtmerch.com. Armed Forces Day is in 2 weeks, so if you want to get stuff, get it now, rock it. Yeah, all the Angry Patriot stuff. We got the hats. Guys, get on. Oh, yeah, but this one just has the American flag and then the future looks bright, Angry Patriot. Guys, God bless you guys. Take care of each other. We'll see you guys on Friday. Peace and love. We're out.
Peace.